Hi, my name is Sam. Thanks for checking out this video. If you get to the end and liked it, then subscribe, bell notification, and give the video a thumbs up. This is temporary. Don't panic. I'm just changing colors. It's a process. Anyways, yeah, so I've had one of the hardest few weeks in the past little bit. Just really the beginning of 2020 has been a bit of a disaster. Hi, Bibi. As I said in my Sunday video, I lost my grandfather really suddenly, and that was the first time I've really ever lost someone that I was close to. And you know, there's good and bads that it wasn't a long, painful process. My grandmother, his wife, was sick my entire life, so that was never a fun thing to imagine someone going through, but also of like, at least we knew, like, you know, you have time to think of what you want to do and say, and make sure you do before that person is gone. And it's weird, but I'm angry that that was taken away from me, you know what I mean? Even though I know him as a person, it would have driven him absolutely insane to have been stuck in a hospital bed. He was someone that he couldn't sit still. He made his own business, you know, growing up in small town Quebec, and didn't have the best, you know, home life, but made a really good home for my mom and my uncles. And you know, I wish his funeral would have been gone to plan, I guess is a nice way. It didn't, but I got to go back and hear from a lot of people that he was very loved, which was nice, actually. On top of that, there's the whole like global pandemic going on, and like, it's only March. Think about all the shit that's happened in 2020, and it's only March. And like, one thing I've been trying to like give myself is short-term goals, and to see like instead of just being like, well, December's over, let's shoot for next December, like that's a long. So I bought tickets for myself to go to see BTS at the end of May in Toronto, which is likely gonna get canceled, which is exactly what I need right now. That was my like thing for myself this year, to kind of perk up and look up and be positive. And yeah, with the pandemic, Australia was like on fire. We've almost had World War III. There's been like, I don't know how many planes shot down, crashed, fallen, whatever. Shit's just not good right now. So I thought, you know what? Let's talk about stuff that gives us comfort, because that's stuff that I've really been searching for the past few weeks as shit's hit the fan. So I want to talk about things that give me comfort, book and non-book related. Starting off, my first thing, despite their annoying stuff, the puppies. I actually got this guy, Sherlock, here in undergrad when I was having lots of panic and anxiety and depression, and I still have those issues, but a lot less worse, and helps me feel better. I know I'm not unique in that. I know several people, you know, they've gotten dogs, and like, the dog's the only reason I haven't, like, you know, that I'm still here. So the puppies, this is the Sherlock, and the Watson is sleeping right now. You'll probably hear him snore in a few minutes, but so my dogs for sure. Just puppies in general. I like kittens. I don't like cats really, but puppies, whether it's on like rescue videos, I'm trash for those on Facebook, but like anything from like the Dodo page, or anything from like Pity Nation, Pipples especially on TikTok too, they just like, they like it when you boop their nose, and they're just so attention seeking. They want love so much, which is exhausting, but also like, I need that right now. So puppies in every format. Since I just brought it up now, I'll do it now here. I think music is like a universal thing that helps a lot of people unplug. And I think like when I grew up, you know, there was like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears and Spice Girls and all that stuff, but I haven't really like attached myself to like any group. I enjoyed Taylor Swift when I was a teen and stuff, but I don't really enjoy most of her stuff anymore. So I mean, like, I feel like for the first time in a long time that I've gotten attached to any sort of music is in the last like 2 years with BTS. Just exploring a whole new genre, but as well as just a lot of messages in their music. It's really exhausting, North American music especially, when there's just a lot of music videos with girls with their butts hanging out, being objectified, and men rapping, and that's kind of it. And then even when we get female rappers, they spend all this money and time on plastic surgery, which I hope it's what they genuinely want. It's their choice, it's their body. But like, their female rappers and that we see is a lot of plastic surgery with abnormally large tops, super cinched waist, and then big butt thighs, and then it just doesn't appeal to me. So I think for the first time in a long time that I was like, oh, a group that's talking about like genuine things that I enjoy the music of is BTS. I don't have all of their albums, but I mean, like, I have Wings, which is such a good album. I have the Love Yourself Answer, which was the end of that trilogy. I still have to get the rest of them, but I have that. Dark and Wild, which is arguably their best album ever. And then I have Persona, which is in my car, Map of the Soul Persona. And then I also have 2 versions of their most recent release, Map of the Soul 7. Look at the size difference of this thing. It's a beast. And they released 4 different versions, so I got the 2 that I really, really wanted. Version 4 and version 2. So I really enjoy the effort, especially K-pop. K-pop has its issues, but I really appreciate the effort that they put into a lot of their music. It's not just like, they won't just put together something like the quality of, I don't want to throw shade, but like, realistically, Justin Bieber's last little bit has been pretty crappy quality music for me. Like, they put a lot of effort into the aesthetic, into the whole performance aspect of it, and I think I would rather spend my time and my money acknowledging that effort rather than like writing a song called Yummy somehow that took 6 writers somehow, where Danny Gonzalez's spoof is just better. So BTS is a big thing for me. Caffeine, especially lattes, just there's something specific about like the foaminess, and then like especially pumpkin spice, but anything chocolate mint or caramel flavoring as well. I like hazelnut too, but there's just something that I find relaxing that when I think of, I go, okay, that's when I'm gonna like, you know, either go to Starbucks or make it at home, and I'm just gonna sit there and drink it. And I've made an effort in the last, you know, couple years actually, when I'm able to, you know, sometimes work is work and whatever, but when I'm able to just sit on the couch and drink my latte and just do nothing, or read a book, or just do nothing for a little bit. I find that that's been something that's been really easy for me to adopt, and I've attached that specifically to lattes. I know it's a really weird thing, but the Beaverton, I feel like it's just like in an age where so much news and everything is so distorted when you go in the comment section on like a CBC News article or anything like that. I love that we now have the Beaverton, for any Americans, is basically the Canadian version of The Onion. And it's been so nice to finally get something with a Canadian perspective, because I feel like for a long time I knew more about American politics than I did Canadian politics. And politics aside, it's really toxic right now, even in Canada, not to the extent of the United States, but it is really toxic, especially someone who lives currently in Alberta right now. I have a neighbor who has the word Wexit in Christmas lights written on the top of their roof, not even kidding. So having a site like the Beaverton to go to that just like calls out like on both sides of the spectrum, like they're calling out Justin Trudeau, they call out Jason Kennedy, they call out all these people, but then they just drag like the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators, and it's a very like, some of the stuff is just like, it is depressing, and it's a way to stay informed on what's going on in the world, but also trying to not take things too seriously, right? I mean, like, even with like the whole pandemic going on right now, I saw them post something like the safest way to quarantine yourself in Ottawa is to go to an Ottawa Senators game, joking that no one goes to their games. So it's just a nice like way to like stay informed but not take everything too seriously and like the world is ending. As for books, I feel like, you know, everyone enjoys like Harry Potter and all that stuff, but even in the last few weeks where I've been like, looked at my TBR, which looks amazing, and then I'm like, no. I can't do that right now. I need to read something that I know I'm going to like, I know what I'm getting into, and I know what we'll want from it. So I mean, like, I think the books that right now have given me the most comfort in the last few years is The Kiss Quotin' by Helen Huang. The whole Veronica Speedball series, really, but A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn especially, and Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow, which I love that I have such weird tastes, I guess, that Nevermore is a middle grade fantasy, A Curious Beginning is an adult historical romance, more of an adult historical mystery with some romance in it, and then The Kiss Quotin' is just a full-blown contemporary diverse romance. So I mean, I have different moods that I can kind of pique my interest with, so there's just something specific about these books that I am very attached to. Smells, I mean, like, I feel like scents in general are like a big way of giving comfort. Especially just, this is the one I have right now, is hot cocoa and cream, but just generally like hot chocolate smelling things, I really enjoy. So I remember growing up always having hot chocolate. That was one thing that we always you know, had as a treat. But I actually, just because I've changed my diet, I don't really consume sweet things. And if you've ever looked at the powder in hot chocolates, if you ever looked at the nutritional facts, there's a ton of sugar in hot chocolate. So a lot of the times I can't really drink it and enjoy it the way I used to, but the smell, I associate the smell with so many like good memories of like ice skating and going to the Christmas park and all this stuff growing up that was positive breaks from whatever bad stuff in the world was happening. So specifically right now I've been like, I know they do like their seasonal stuff, but the hot cocoa and cream one is like especially, it's insane how good it smells. But just like that scent, that hot chocolate warmth, is something I attach to very positive things. I actually am kind of surprised it took me as long as it did to think about this, but when it comes to like TV shows and movies, Scrubs, I don't know why, because I mean like it has some dark episodes, but I don't know if it's just, you know, what I was doing when it coming out, or just like I love the fact that the two main characters are like are good friends in real life, and they just troll the internet a lot, Zach Braff and his friend. I have, you know, the Funkos. Where do I have them somewhere. Oh, they're up there. I have the Funkos of the three main cast. And we pretend that the last season didn't happen for Scrubs. I just really, really, you know, just am attached to Scrubs for some reason. Of all the movies and stuff that I've watched and TV shows, Scrubs is something that I don't think I'll ever get sick of rewatching. When it comes to video games, I'm not like I'm not a gamer by any means or anything like that. But Spyro, they relaunched it on PS4, and I actually literally bought the PS4 to play this. This was one thing that I remember vividly being really happy in my childhood with. It was a big purchase. We couldn't afford the GameCube or whatever, but we eventually were able to, as a family, afford the PlayStation, like the original console. And this was a game that we actually all four of the kids really enjoyed. And I remember chasing Mr. Moneybags at the end of, I think it's the second game of the trilogy, that you get to blow fire on him and get all the gems back that he stole from you from the game. And so when I feel like there's just a lot going on and too much or whatever, I play Spyro until I get stuck at a level which I get so frustrated with, and then I'm like, okay, I need to just pause. So Spyro, specifically as a video game. Movies, I feel like, again, is like relatively like wide-ranging. One of my favorite movies of all time is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I don't know that it's necessarily like something that gives me comfort, you know what I mean? And I mean, Ferris Bueller has its issues, but I really, really enjoy Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But I think for comfort-wise, I'd have to go with Crazy Rich Asians. I really enjoy the book, but I feel like the movie gives me comfort, whereas the book I enjoy, but it's kind of the same way as Ferris Bueller, right? But the movie especially, I absolutely love, and I really, really want the sequel. But this is something that, again, I can like mindlessly like unplug and just watch and enjoy and be happy. One other positive thing that I remember from my childhood is every Halloween we would watch Hocus Pocus. And I again have the Funko Pops of the Sanderson sisters there. And I have the book that they wrote, the novelization of it, and then wrote the sequel for it. I know they're doing a second movie. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm curious enough to watch it. But maybe it was because I remember growing up with like Sabrina the Teenage Witch and all that stuff, but there's something specific about this movie that I will always want to rewatch. And kind of on the same wavelength is The Princess Bride. It's one of my favorite movies all time, but for some reason there's something about it that gives me a lot of comfort, and I don't know exactly why. It's more of like a cult following movie, and I'm so glad every time anyone whispers about doing a remake of it, everyone, including the actors, is like, don't touch it. And so but there's something about Buttercup and Wesley, and just like the giant, and then Inigo Montoya, and it's such a meme, and like, I don't know, maybe it is one thing of like, it's just so like outrageously ridiculous and funny that like it's impossible to watch, consume it, and like not detach from the world. It's just so ridiculous and enjoyable, and I love this movie so much. I mean, food-wise, I'm thinking mushroom pizza is my go-to. That's literally what I did on Friday. I was like, Domino's Brooklyn pepperoni with mushrooms on it. But even like when I'm like Ristorante pizza, like the frozen stuff from Dr. Oetker, I always get the mushroom. Mushroom is my favorite pizza topping ever. It's like probably my favorite veggie, and I just love that. Also, all just chips in Canada, specifically the President's Choice one, the extreme flavor one or whatever. Don't get the Ruffles ones if you're American and you're cut. The Ruffles are basic bitches. They like this. They don't basically season them anymore. Whereas the President's Choice Extreme Ruffles, if you come to Canada, you go to like a Loblaws grocery store. It's like, I'm trying to remember what they're, Zehrs, No Frills, all them, they sell it. They have the best all-dressed chips. And I cannot get rid of them because I feel like there's just been so much shit going on in the world and life that I need that comfort a lot. So when I'm like trying to eat healthy, all-dressed chips are something I've not found a substitute for either, that I'm like, I can't cut those out of my diet. I just find them very comforting and they're amazingly tasting too. Probably kind of obvious, but dyeing my hair, I know it's also a sign of being like mentally unwell, but I mean, like, I've dyed my hair when I'm totally fine too. I just find it really comforting that like that is something I can control, you know, depending on what the dye does. But I mean, it's just something that I know, like, you know, hair's gonna grow and break and come back and whatever, you can do wigs or whatever, but like, it's just something fun in the world that even when I was a super broke college student, I was able to afford to go to the store, to Shoppers Drug Mart, and buy like a $10 box of red hair dye and just change things up and just have fun a little bit with things. Oh my god, food. I did forget. Food. Butter chicken. Oh my god. Butter chicken is like one of the greatest. Indian food in general, I find a lot of comfort in, but butter chicken especially, that's something that I don't know why, but it's just something that I associate with comfort. Maybe it's because it's hearty and that kind of stuff. Oh, also, garlic mashed potatoes. I grew up and my mother makes these amazing garlic mashed potatoes that you boil the potatoes with cloves of garlic and then you mash it, you put butter, milk, and ranch. And it's just, I didn't know that people didn't always eat mashed potatoes like that until I got to high school. And then I went to my friend's house and we would always fight at my house of like, no, I'm getting all the mashed potatoes. There was never any leftovers. And then I had some at my friend's parents' house and I was like, what the hell is this? This is the mashed potatoes? I didn't know people didn't put garlic in all their stuff. That's what happens when you have a French mother. Oh, another movie. I don't own it. I don't think, but I think I have it on a streaming service. The Mummy, the one with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, especially the first one. But I love that whole, we're going to call it a duology because the third one didn't happen. I just love that. I think it sparked a lot of my interest in museums, curation, librarianship, Egyptology, but just history in general in outside of just like mainland Europe. It really got me interested, and it's just a weird, amazing, awesome movie that was my childhood. So. And I think the last things that I've been like trying to think of like giving me comfort, I'll watch anything with like Anna Kendrick and Kristen Bell and whatever, but I feel like just in the last like 2 years or so, I have just like, I consume so much content on YouTube of any platform. It's always YouTube, and I cannot not consume things from Jenna Marbles and Danny Gonzalez. Things I always go to bed normally listening to like a video or whatever, and I have a playlist and it's mostly their content on there. So, those are the things in my mind that I can think of that give me comfort. Let me know if you have any bookish or non-bookish related things that give you comfort in the comment section down below. I don't think I need to link anything in the description box, but I'll link my social media. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. And yeah, make your mashed potatoes with garlic at least once in your life if you haven't, and with some ranch. It's so freaking good.